Yeah, I believe it was St. Louis. It was one of those. Yeah, it was
I thought
one
it
of the
was
southern
Southern
states.
State. Oh, okay.
But yeah,
So
the Dylan Ruth.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, and the cops took him to like McDonald's or
they
something.
took him to Burger King
Cops took him to Burger King
after the fact.
after
Yeah.
he had shot up a whole lot of people, which pisses me off so much because they treat people of a different hue differently, especially in those cases.
But that also should probably tell you that it may have been an agenda in itself.
All along,
Exactly. Maybe
Who
somebody
knows?
put him up to that. So,
he had a long line of hate in his family.
well, of course he did. But you also, I mean, he was wanted to be part of the Klan and whatever else. But think about it. You have Klan in the police department. He could have
You
been.
do.
It could have been an uncle or somebody who triggered him that may have been a part of the police department. You just never know.
You know what? And the funny thing is, now that you said that, I think about, like these Middle Eastern groups like ISIS and the African group, I forgot their name, Boko
Haram. Boko Haram.
Haram.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what they do. They incite young children, young people to do certain types of crimes.
Right.
But no one's putting their name on it. I mean, they only do it so they can put their name on it and create fear. But no one's doing that with these young people. So I don't know if that's like a thing that's happening in the United States, because no one is taking, I guess, it as like a badge of, I don't know, of honor. I don't know what to call it.
Basically, I mean, they're just putting their claim to fame, and that's to keep their group relevant, most likely.
Right.
So, but back to my point of allowing the government basically to disarm you. Basically, that boils down to this. You think about in history. You look back in history and you realize that Mao Zedong, Stalin,
Stalin actually
Hitler.
killed more people than Hitler, I
yeah,
believe.
and all these different dictators are people, whether it been a socialism or socialist group or dictatorship, whatever it may be. Anybody, time somebody's talking
Venezuela
about
right now.
attacking your freedom, then you have to think, why are you coming after that freedom or that right? Like, they don't even want you to have to basically have the right to speak freely.
No.
But that's a whole other ball game. We'll get into that on another subject.
Ooh, it's another one of our
Yeah, it's another
constitutional
podcast.
rights.
So with this being said, anytime they took the guns, then that basically corrupt the government to where they can actually come in and pretty much do anything they want to you. And what can you do about it? How are you going to protect yourself? So all you people that are out rooting for, take the guns and nobody needs an AR-15 to protect themselves. Think about this. 9 times out of 10, most gangbangers, that's why they call it a gang, or groups, they don't rob alone.
No.
They rob in groups. So if you have a pistol and this one pistol that you think is going to hold it down or hold down the fort versus 5 and 6 pistols or shotguns, and some of them will have an AR-15 of some sort, AK-47, whatever it may be. How do you protect yourself, and all you have is a pistol or a double-barrel shotgun,
Exactly.
as Joe Biden said that all you needed was to protect your home? Like, how is that possible?
I think it's not possible necessarily, just because I'm thinking about all these situations that happen, really, that I know about in the Houston area, actually. It's like one in particular, several people went in, just like your situation, the 4 people went in and they hogtied a family. I think it was on the north side. And I don't know if they raped the young girl, but it wasn't, and I think it was it was like girls in the group too. There was 2 girls and like 2 guys who went in and robbed this family. So that's happening. They don't report it. It's not reported like it should be.
Well, yeah.
To create, they don't want to create fear.
Well,
in
most
people.
times, all crimes are not all reported. You see things happening in the city. How many times have you ever seen something go down in the city and it never made it to the news?
Yeah.
I've literally sat back and watched crimes in progress. It's never reported. Nobody know about it until, maybe it wasn't big enough news at the moment, or it happened so fast they didn't have time to get on it.
But either way, you do need a type of weapon that has accuracy.
Right.
And that you can have multiple rounds because, like you said, they're not just one single burglar. It's like it can be 4 or 5 people coming into your house.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is scary. They may be cowards. So if they hear one gunshot, they may run. That's possible. That's what people say.
Sometimes.
Especially with a shotgun. They say, yeah.
That's not always true because if they have something they deem bigger and badder, they're not going to run. They're going to come in and get what they want.
But the truth of the matter is, you want to have something that you feel confident about, that you can get somebody off you and protect your family and get out of the situation unscathed.
Right.
And a pistol is not necessarily going to make that happen in those types of situations.
And if that's the case, why do you think the police carry AR-15s? Because they know that accuracy, training with that accuracy, and being proficient with that weapon with multiple rounds can fend off multiple attackers. And they know, of course, like I said, criminals are not going to give up their guns. So they already know that they have a fight on their hands. So why aren't they only using pistols?
Right.
If that's the case, okay, the public get rid of their guns. Why don't they get rid of their guns like they do in London? And walk around with a stick or a flashlight and just beat you with it.
The only way that we can eliminate gun violence in its entirety is if everyone had no guns.
But even then, that's just like the people in Britain, the British people right now. Notice like even in the black community and the British, they fight with knives every day. Those people get stabbed left and right. So it's going to result to you having to learn how to fight with a knife. How many people you know going out having a butcher knife duel in the street? It doesn't happen here that often.
And I think that has a lot to do with how we decide to live, being on top of each other, like in the cities. And I mean, it's a whole different subject, but crabs in a barrel, people feel like there's a lot of anxiety and need.
And there's always going to be people that don't have. Yeah, there's always going to be people that don't have or have less than you. So, of course, they're going to always want to up their ante and, make their pockets fat. So, how do they do it? They feed off the weak.
Yeah, that's true. It's a hard discussion because, yes, you want to eliminate the violence that's happening, but you also don't want your rights infringed upon.
And don't give up your rights, because if you give up your rights for so-called freedom and protection, here's the thing. Police, they react. They don't stop crime. They don't stop anything from happening. They never have. They are reactive. So by them being reactive, they're going to get there after the fact. What are you going to do in the meantime?
Yeah. About the only thing a cop stops is if you see him, you'll slow down. That's about the only thing it stops.
That's it. And even then, as soon as he turned his head to get out the freeway, you back to speeding. But that's speeding. Even in the crime aspect, some people don't even respect them enough to stop doing the crime. They will go to war with the police, in that certain time. So if you give up your right and your freedom to have whatever weapon that they may be, you're giving up your right to live. And that's about as easy as I can put it.
So, one of the things that that a lot of people say, they look at Australia as one of the kind of models to go by, because when they had a mass shooting, I think it was like in 1997, it's called the Port Arthur Massacre. They moved quickly to implement gun control laws that basically they confiscated certain weapons, which are the semi-automatic rifles, and they also created a buyback program with that, and people went in droves turning in their weapons. 650,000 firearms confiscated during that time, and based on the statistics, they say that it is working. But do you think that could work in a country like the United States?
Honestly, I don't think it will, because people are so used to freedom. Australia doesn't really have the same racial makeup as the United States. The United States is a melting pot.
Right. Not to mention, well, they're pretty much a melting pot these days too, but not to mention that you can still get a gun. You have to wait 28 days, and you can't get obviously like an AR-15 or whatever, but you can't have a reason of wanting a rifle or wanting a weapon as being that you just want to protect yourself. That's not a goal, and I don't think it would work mainly because of that.
Right.
Because I mean that is the reason why
most people want a gun,
and the Second Amendment is in place. I mean, to protect ourselves.
And if you guys fighting against the Second Amendment, then just think about it. You won't have the right to protect yourself, and those of you who are afraid of another culture or another group or racial, ethnic background, that pretty much seals your fate. And you think about one of the reasons they created the Stand Your Ground law. Most people were shooting people without merit a lot of times. This actually gives them reason if they feel threatened. Just if they feel threatened, then they can shoot you and kill you dead with no consequence.
What you talking about? Stand Your Ground?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just like that guy that I don't like to talk about.
That's a whole nother story. So
the Z dude.
I believe that most of you need to get your weapons while you can. Train, be proficient with that weapon, and protect your household, and stop giving up your right to have. Like, you shouldn't give. Bad enough we have so many rules and regulations to where almost everything is illegal. And that will be another topic, of course, another future podcast.
Yeah, not to mention learn to hunt, guys. Might as well.
Then, that's you can find on the Texas Prepper Podcast, which is our other podcast where we speak about prepping and preparation for life, survival. So for those of you who are interested, check us out on the Texas Prepper Podcast.
And I just want to say one thing. When you say prepping, also I want to mention that you just want to learn to be independent of all things specifically.
Yes, stop depending on the government's tip. And everybody looks, and that's another thing as far as like, that's a whole other issue. There's so many things to talk about, but because we were going to talk about the socialism aspect and Bernie Sanders. I want to say this. Bernie is gassing a lot of these people up, telling them what they want to hear. They talked about black reparations, and he basically stuttered and beat around the bush. Keep in mind one thing, that a politician will tell you anything that you want to hear. I'm not for any of them. I mean, because they all lie. If their mouth is moving, they're lying. Plain and simple. And that's just how I feel. That's my opinion. That's my freedom of speech. Don't take that away from me.
We can talk about that on another podcast, because we have some different views about those types of things. But we'll see next time.
Right. And with that being said, don't forget to check us out. We're going to wrap it up. Don't forget to check out the Texas Prepper Podcast. Also, you can actually join us live when we actually record live. Go to the Spreaker app and download the app, and you can actually chat with us live. Or you can just send us an email at dawnofalltradestv@gmail.com. And got any last words?
Stay ready so you don't have to get ready.
I like that. And we out.